Who am I? What is my role in society? How do I influence others? What are my values? How does who I am mould my communities of practice? As a teacher in an ever-changing educational system, it is vital that we are able to identify and critically evaluate who we are, the context we work in, the role that we play within our communities that we work with, and how we influence those that we come in contact with. In understanding who I am as an educator, my core values of pedagogical practice, and my effects on the community of practice, I'm able to identify the way that I see myself as an educator and a mentor in influencing those who are part of my local and global community. So who am I? I'm an educator with over 17 years of teaching experience with primary school age students. I have a vast amount of experience where I've taught from all around the world and observed, developed and taught in an array of educational systems. During this time I have seen change in mindset of teaching, the curriculum and student practice. From the 19th century model based around knowledge to the far more inquiry-based 21st century model that I see in today's educational system. It is through these experiences that I feel I can begin to critically evaluate my own pedagogical practice. In order to truly understand what sort of leader and teacher I am, I need to understand what values are important to me. So what is important to me? Relationships, respect, understanding, clarity, goals, collaboration and inclusiveness. In understanding who I am, I can now begin to understand the context that I work in and how this shapes the way that I teach and influence others. I'm a teacher of Year 7 A Stream gifted and talented boys where I specialise in boys education. I'm part of a community of educators that provides the support, care, vision and understanding for my primary school students. It is my role to create the tools and opportunities for my students to develop the key competencies of our 21st century learners. My purpose is to create an environment which encourages students to be flexible and adaptable and where we are able to identify and meet their needs. I specialise in independent learning environments, not only creating success but opportunities for challenge to develop the essential skills so the students can overcome these challenges on a regular and daily basis. I see myself as one of many key educators that bridges the gap between the traditional and modern teacher. And I am part of a complex puzzle within my educational community, developing the skills, attributes and mindset to create lifelong learners. There are many aspects of my practice that I find particularly satisfying. Firstly, it's the development of a community of learners, bringing together the diversity of our school, our city and our country. I enjoy forming relationships with the wider school community, the students, the parents, the teaching and the greater community. I enjoy watching the student grow both academically and emotionally, and also providing the students with the mentoring support to create a balanced, well-driven, lifelong learner. And I enjoy sharing the experience with my 21st century learners as they become engaged, creating a positive energy to achieve their goals and aspirations. There are many theories and philosophies that I've come across as an educator. However, two highly effective and influential theorists that I have been influenced by are Lev Vygotsky and John Dewey. Vygotsky and his theories of social development and learning through interaction and hands-on learning has had a highly effective impact on the way that I create learning environments. And John Dewey as a visionary in seeing teaching as an evolving system and requires continual tweaking and adjustment is truly inspirational and is a philosophy that I've brought into my classroom and teaching environment. Modern theorists or researchers are Michael Reichart and Richard Hawley. Their research and implications around boys' education and boys' relational learners has been highly effective on me. Boys' learners are influenced by the way they have relationships with others. It's with their teachers, their peers and the wider community in whānau. These theorists and researchers have been highly influential in shaping my pedagogical practice and has brought my teaching into the 21st century. The context of my practice as a primary school teacher is defined through the core underlying documents within the New Zealand education system, that is the New Zealand National Curriculum and the Treaty of Waitangi. My role as an educator is to respect, value and acknowledge these through all components of my practice, both ethically, culturally and principally. Each educational context in which teachers work is an extremely important piece of a collaborative puzzle. The context in which my practice is situated is complex, yet fluent in development for the specific needs of our students. I work at King's School, an independent boys' school specialising in primary school aged children. My specific area of practice is with gifted and talented 11 and 12-year-old boys. King's School is renowned for its traditional academic learning, balanced with a personalised teaching approach that encourages creative and reflective thinking. The school and my focus is to recognise every boy as a unique individual and offer the opportunities for them to discover and explore to their full potential. It is our mission that each boy who passes through the gates at King's School is given the solid foundation of learning and has a sense of self-confidence, self-belief, motivation, flexibility and resilience. Wenger defines communities of practice of groups of people who share a passion for something they do and learn how to do it better when they interact regularly. He states that communities of practice are formed by people who engage in a process of collective learning and a shared domain of human endeavour. At King's School, we foster a community of practice through a powerful partnership between the students, teachers and parents. The relationship unites the partnership through effective teaching, learning and playing together in a uniquely effective and supportive environment. King's School has an incredibly diverse cultural background, with a makeup of the school consisting of cultures from around the world. With such a diverse range of cultures within King's School community, the primary purpose is to respect, celebrate and value diversity. This strengthens the community's practice, building sound relations within the community based on effective communication, consultation, respect and authenticity. The purpose and function of my practice is to focus on the strong foundation of student learning. Within a primary school, it is the essential learning that focuses around the student developing a love for learning, creating the essential skills and work ethic that provide them with the tools for higher education. Student learning is greatly enhanced through the powerful relationships formed through communities of practice. The key domain or factor is that of the individual boy, and through a highly effective collaboration between the network of the community, we collectively develop the key skills that prepare the students for lifelong learning. All forms of education is linked as part of a sophisticated puzzle. Each works as a building block, not necessarily building on the system before, but working more on a mutual connection between them all. I see my context as a significant part of student growth. When teaching boys, I will frequently refer to where the boys have come from in regards to previous schooling and communities, but also in preparation for future learning. We all see the learning environment as part of a collaborative community which fosters the learning for each and every student for life. Today's teaching goes way beyond the classroom and local community. In today's modern age, the communities of practice have no borders. The context that my class and school works are with people from around the world. The use of digital technology has challenged my pedagogy and pushing me into ways that I can enhance student learning through communities from around the world. Therefore, the context in which I work is not local, but globally reflecting a 21st century classroom. The core values that underpin the context in which I teach is infused through every aspect of the school and community. The core values are infused through each and every aspect of the teaching process, from individual lessons to the highly effective community environment. The purpose and function of my practice within the specific context of King's is developing the individual talents of each boy for life. I frame my pedagogy around 4 key skills: values, thinking behaviours, well-being and learner profiles. Key values are compassion and forgiveness, humility and generosity, sincerity and justice, courage and sense and purpose, and respect. The way in which schools express these values is by choice and decision of the school and its community. Values are built into schools' philosophy, structure, curriculum, classroom, and relationships. If a school community has developed strongly held and clearly articulated values, those values are likely to be expressed in everyday actions and interactions within the school. The culture that I've created within my classroom and the way that King's School infuses these values is at the forefront of learning and governance within the school. It is facilitated through 4 key areas. 1. Quality staff. 2. Innovative teaching and learning. 3. Comprehension and effective curriculum. And 4. Leadership and governance. Each plays a role that establishes a values-based culture that addresses each and every one of the key values within the King's School environment. Values is a key underlying component within my specific classroom context, my pedagogy and within King's School. Like the way the school addresses them visually, we also have key policies to ensure that the values are put first and foremost. As a legal document of the New Zealand education system, the New Zealand National Curriculum addresses the core values of education. This directly impacts the way that I teach, the way that the King's School curriculum is delivered, and within the strategic plans informing policies. The Treaty of Waitangi is our founding document, and it is paramount that we conduct ourselves within its educational principle, that is, putting students at the centre of teaching and learning. Further to this, as an educational Christian school, we also address the core values of the Christian faith. These key policies and documents ensure that all students work and learn in a truly values-based education environment. Ethically, as an educator and within the school community, the key values that I have addressed are infused through the way that I as a teacher teach within my school, also as a colleague and also as a mentor. To me, each and every person has a right to the best possible education. It is through these values that I feel that I have an ethical responsibility to allow my students to learn to their utmost potential, and will only be successful if all members of the community respect and value these ethically. Education has gone global through social media, creating global communities of practice which is revolutionising teaching. It is our future as educators. Blogging, Twitter accounts, YouTube channels, Google Classrooms are all part of what I currently have or I'm looking to apply to develop my global professional identity. But who am I wanting to become? What am I trying to achieve? What is my brand? As a teacher in a 21st century learning environment, it is vital that I reflect on how or what I put into place to ensure that I keep up with the rapidly moving world of education and becoming part of a professional global community while supporting my pedagogical practice. Social media is an exciting platform for establishing professional communities of practice, though, as with any brand, it is vital that I follow simple guidelines that are valued and respected. Firstly, the global brand that I establish within social media is one that is true to my professional pedagogical practice. My personal and school philosophy is to ensure that I develop the individual talents of each boy for life. It is vital that I keep this in mind as I develop my global community of practice. Secondly, I need to ensure that I respect and value the students and the brand of King's School. It is important that all members of the King's School community are part of my brand and understand how this platform I am creating is beneficial to the entire community. This will protect the privacy, the confidentiality, the interests of my school and the students. And finally, I need to monitor the progress of my network and ensuring that I am developing the professional skills with myself, the context of King's School, and with the students. I need to respect and value the profession and the school through careful documentation that is fair, accurate, and honest. It is important that I decide what I define as social media. Do I do blogs and Twitter accounts, or do I create YouTube channels and other platforms? Again, I ask the question, what is the brand that I am creating? I am, as with my school, very supportive of the use of social media when it comes to the benefiting of student learning. If you are true to your practice and social media guidelines are respected, there are great benefits to teachers' professional identities, which will ultimately affect the context of teaching and the student learning. Benefits include creating a network of professional contacts who are like-minded, sharing theories and ideas on a global scale, developing a professional profile where I see myself and others can see me as a leader in learning for future educational communities. I have continued up-to-date professional development as an educator, and also creating a professional brand whom others want to follow and want to communicate with. Times are changing. Social media is providing it, and teachers are becoming some of the pioneers for this. Through careful organisation and common sense guidelines, I see myself becoming part of the revolution in social media and the development of global communities of practice. As a teacher in today's 21st century environment, it is vital that I continually identify the context that I work inside and critically evaluate my professional practice. Being seen as an innovative and lead teacher within King's School, in a school that is built on tradition and values, it is my responsibility to reflect on who I am as an educator and how I bring myself and my school to the cutting edge of teaching and learning. As practitioners in primary school teaching, we have legal, political, moral and ethical responsibilities and obligations driven by powerful underlying values that are developed through legal documents within the New Zealand education system. Education is continually changing at a local and global level, collectively changing for a better tomorrow. And it's these changes that make me critically reflect on how I respect traditional values in a highly successful educational context within new global communities of practice and social change. I need to be continually evaluating my pedagogy, reflecting on what is important for our learners, that is creating passionate lifelong learners with the essential skills for tomorrow's world, while looking at how I can develop my professional context and practice through modern forms of communication and social media. As education has gone global, our communities of practice have gone global too. Through social media, the collective power of these communities are creating a positive social change within education and making us as educators reflect on our pedagogical practice. In summary, we need balance, a balance between the core values, the legalities of the education system, and the development of our global community of educational practice through modern forms of communication, all in all resulting in what will be a better tomorrow for our students and for ourselves as teachers.